We have game 5 here, and there are a couple exciting things in Margrave and Minion. So initially I was thinking to build something with the Minions, but that goes completely out the window in the face of Lost Arts and, well, any draw cards, particularly Margrave. So we are going to go for that, the Margrave into Lost Arts thing, and King's Court will be there to help out both with your draw and, well, with whatever it is you want to do with the deck. So it seems like Monument would be a good thing to play with all that draw, especially seeing as how you could King Monument. Of note is that it is a colony board, and the only form of trashing is trade route. So I will have to pick up a trade route at some point just to be thinner than usual. My opponent opens with a workers village. I I'm not certain what the workers village was for, but I go for monument and a trade route. A little bit scary because you really want to get to that Margrave as soon as possible. But I still managed to pick up the Margrave despite those two terminals in my deck. Now I have three terminals, so I really have to hope I get the Lost Arts token down very quickly on the Margrave pile. My opponent gets there before me, but um, I'm able to follow him on the turn after. So a little bit behind, but not terribly so, right? Still early days, still at the mercy of the shuffles because we haven't trashed anything yet from our decks. He does have a trade route now, so I mean, with his workers village, it might the workers village might be of use to him now, perhaps. Not really, because he only has the one terminal. Never mind me. Anyhow, he trashes on that turn. I attacked him with the Margrave, so he's one card thinner than me. Here on 3, I thought briefly about Humble Castle, but I can't. Okay, people buy Humble Castle sometimes. Sometimes I've seen people open with Humble Castle, and I don't understand it. They're paying $3 for a copper in my head. Here is a little bit more valuable because you could make your trade routes be worth like $1 every time you play them, right? But that wasn't worth it to me. Neither was the silver, honestly, because what I'm trying to do as best as possible early up here is to just play Margaret as often as possible, and the silver gets in the way of that. My opponent does pick up a second silver. Eventually, that will come back and give my opponent an advantage once he can start drawing, but hopefully by that point I could catch up, maybe in terms of more Margraves or more Monuments or more King's Courts or something, because I was able to attack him more often. So we'll see how that works out. He has the extra silver to me, and he's actually trashed a couple extra cards to me at this point in the game. And here we come to an interesting decision point. First of all, do I play trade route or monument? I think I have to go for the monument here just for the extra money because it gets me to 7. And do I buy a King's Court already? I go for the King's Court as opposed to another Margrave. That was the only other thing to buy there. King's Court is good, right? It is good. I was a little bit concerned that I did not have enough actions in my deck for the King's Court to find. Little bit concerned about that. That's my only hesitation there. So another Margrave for my opponent, and he pulls down a second monument. So things to take note of. Right now, the workers' village starts to look very, very good. Well, this is turn 11. So the second monument is somewhat significant, but I can also get one here if I like. Unfortunately, the King's Court does not find me my Margrave. That means I don't get the King's Court and the Margrave together. I would really like to see that, so I could draw lots and get my trashing going. I'm a little bit behind on trashing, aware of it, so I want to catch up. So here I go for King and Margrave. I think that's reasonable at this point. And here I'm hoping he draws me into a Margrave, but as you'll soon see here, especially now, please draw me into a Margrave. Please draw me into a Margrave. It doesn't happen, right? I end up with King King Monument, and this turn kinda sets me back. Not kinda sets me back. It obviously sets me back, but it gives him definite advantage at this point. I feel one of my King's Court is useless at this point. and two, I wasn't able to attack him with a Margrave. So he has a hand here where he has 5 cards and he has a lot more options. So from that point, I feel like that was a turning point at the game. I mean, he did get to low starts earlier than me, but I felt like that's not that big of a deal. That this with the two King's Courts joining up with a monument, that's a much bigger deal. Also, he was able to pick up now, I believe, 6 Margraves to my 4 only. I believe. I think that's how the split went. Yeah. So that is an issue. Also, not seeing any of my King's Courts here is an issue. Here, I could have gone for the trade route play, used the king on the trade route, but I wouldn't have enough money to pick up another King's Court. I go for king and minion here. I underestimate how fast trashing 3 cards is. The minion is in the off chance that I have to use it to discard and then draw myself into a better hand. It never happens in this game because one, my opponent draws me a bunch of cards with his multiple Margrave plays. And two, that minion should have been a monument. My opponent has a second one that should have been a second monument for me. The money output is the same, but the difference is the points. And the points, while I'm slightly ahead on the points right now, he will catch up because you could king those guys and get 3 points a turn from them, right? So we've emptied the Margrave pile. I do have finally a good hand here. King Margrave, that's exactly what you'd like to see. Now again, look, the Workers Village doesn't really do too much for him because he's king in Margraves, and again his actions from that. But anyway, we've talked about that Workers Village at length. And he comes up with 18, which is a lot of money. Enough for king, and monument. So he has 3 monuments now. And potentially he could king all 3 of them. That is in itself $18, and he has enough buys to do things with. So what I'm trying to say here is that piles are a consideration for me. If I just blindly go pick up 2 King's Courts here, perhaps he has the estate pile and they win, because he'll get a lot of points from playing his monument, so the estates should be sufficient for him to end the game with a point lead. So this pause here is not really for what actions to play 3 times. It's fairly obvious, right? Minion, monument, trade route. I don't want to draw him into any more cards. He may have an off turn where he stalls, and I don't want to help him with that as much as I could help it. So what I am going to do here is pick up just 1 King's Court, I believe. I thought about Platinum too. Maybe like King Platinum Monument is worthwhile. Maybe. But as is, I felt to go for points there, so I decided to go for points. I was really in a difficult position there, losing the Margrave split, and now have to be like very wary of piles. I don't exactly know how much money he could generate. At least $18, right? And he has 2 silvers, so that's 20, 22. See, he has a lot more money in his deck, and he's starting to churn out the points now with his multiple monument plays. So 21, 28 he has on this turn, and because I bought the colony now, the trade route starts to give him money too. So he won't be eating away at his economy when he plays his trade routes now. So he just has a bit of a think here, just making sure I can't pile out on him, because I mean I have some potential to do so if he makes the plays that let me do that. And he just goes for a couple colonies and picks up another monument. So 4 monuments. Now I have to deal with potentially 4 kingdom monuments. That's a lot of points and a lot of money. So at this point I feel like he could just pile the King's Courts and the monuments on me, honestly. Even if I pick up colony here, him kinging 4 monuments will just completely overwrite whatever points I pick up through colonies, I feel. And if not if not the King's Courts and the monuments, King's Courts and the estates should definitely do it for him. So at this point I have to hope he stalls. I don't really know how that happens after I draw him into 5 or 6 cards. But that's the only lineup play at this point for me. I pick up a monument here along with a colony. Not really sure if that was my best play if I'm hoping for a stall, but it is what I do. Monument and with $5 duchy, maybe another minion. There's not a lot of attractive targets, but as it turns out, he does not stall. He played a single Margrave first, so that was slightly encouraging. But then he showed me all his king spots and Margrave, so he finishes the game somehow. I believe he takes the monuments and the king's courts out, and yeah, the points from his king, the monuments, just completely overwrite whatever initial lead that I had on them. So that's game five for you here. Like I said, I felt the turning point was when the kings came to, well, just with the monument, right? I wasn't able to play my Margrave there. Had I been able to play a Margrave, I felt like we would have, split the Margraves 5-5. And it would have been a much more tense end game. So that is game 5. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the last one.